Coruscant, beating heart of the galaxy, the crowning jewel for empires, factions, and governments of eons past. Coruscant is a planet that you and I are very much familiar with, I'm sure. After all, it is the headquarters for the Galactic Empire's leadership branches, and today we are going to talk about it. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy Galactic Empire or Star Wars content, and feel free to share this video to show your allegiance to the Empire. And, without further ado, let's look into the core world of Coruscant. With a rotational speed of 24 hours and an orbital period of 365 days around its local star, Coruscant Prime, Coruscant has a large influence on galactic trade, economy, logistics and politics, and not just within its sector, but within the whole galaxy. This is the most important aspect of Coruscant that you should know. So with that, we shall start with Coruscant's history, its traits and features as a planet of course, and how it is affected by the Galactic Empire. Said to be the ancient homeworld of the human race, Coruscant throughout its history has seen an extreme change to its surface and planetary structure, with the entire planet being converted into one big city or ecumenopolis, which is its official term. From that point, humans looked to the stars and quickly spread themselves throughout the galaxy to occupy the many galactic sectors you know today. With that expansion came outsiders, aliens, lots of them, with hundreds of thousands of different races, cultures and beings visiting and leaving Coruscant every day for many thousands of years, making it home to not just humans, but billions of diverse individuals, uniting the galaxy and sparking what you and I fellow Imperials all know today would become the Galactic Republic. To say Coruscant has played a large role in the service of the Galactic Republic would be putting it lightly. For thousands of years, the Republic has made itself comfortable on Coruscant, with the Republic Senate overseeing the military, civilians, and the Jedi. As you're most likely aware, the Republic has seen plenty of warfare in its day, going against the likes of the Sith, Mandalorians, pirates, crime syndicates, and opposing governments, all unsuccessful at toppling the might of the Republic Armada, of course. All but one, a special series of conflicts known as the Clone Wars, would eventually result in the destruction of the long-standing Republic, creating the Empire we know today. From the end of the Clone Wars in 19 BBY until the start of the Galactic Civil War in 43 ABY, the Galactic Empire has ruled Coruscant for 25 years, turning it into the Imperial Center, making it the home planet for the Empire's leadership officials such as the Emperor and Lord Vader, and an operations headquarters for the top branches such as the Imperial Security Bureau. We shall get more in depth about all of that later though. Located within the core worlds region of the galaxy map, within the Coruscant sector, with a diameter of 12,240 kilometers, Coruscant is a technological marvel, uncomparable to any other planet in the galaxy, as the entire planet is all one city, or ecumenopolis as said before, with very few traces of greenery or fauna from what the planet was like before its transformation. A major aspect of Coruscant's geology, if that's what you can even call it, would be its layers, with the planet having a total of 5,127 layers, all stacked up on top of one another, with each layer getting progressively more inhospitable the further you go down, with the lowest somewhat habitable level being 5. Speaking of such, they say that the last remnant of Coruscant's true surface and flora resides on the first layer, so if you're feeling daring, maybe take the trip. Just remember, down there the sun is a myth. Coruscant has its own artificial weather system, produced by the buildings that stretch up through the planet's troposphere, allowing it to rain, hail, and even snow. This weather is controlled by the planet's weather net. Of course, what is a city without its inhabitants? And you and I both know Coruscant has a big population. Roughly 2 trillion Coruscanti citizens reside within the many districts and urban landscapes of the city, all living, working, caring for their families, and enjoying the many recreational activities the planet has to offer. Millions of individuals migrate to Coruscant every day for many different reasons, such as getting a new life, a vacation, a business or political endeavour, and crime or military operations. This means Coruscant is a hive of diverse activity, both good and bad. To oversee the planet's inhabitants, Coruscant is the central base of operations for the Galactic Senate. The Senate, for many thousands of years it has existed, has been a major influence for not only the citizens of Coruscant, but the rest of the core worlds and the planets that are a part of the Senate, and rightfully so. In a lawless galaxy such as the one they reside in, the people need something to look up to, something that will protect him from the dangers that the galaxy provides. Unfortunately, the Senate would later become bloated with corruption and greed, making it prone to collapse one way or another, which eventually, as you all know, it did, with former Chancellor Sheev Palpatine seizing full power from the Senate and declaring himself Galactic Emperor, dissolving the Senate and thus creating the Galactic Empire. Now known as the Imperial Center today, Coruscant has been completely revamped to be the main headquarters for the highest ranking members of the entire Galactic Empire, and there is no better symbol of this than the Imperial Palace, or the domain of the late Imperial Emperor Palpatine, once the great temple for the Jedi Order. The Imperial Palace is now the Emperor's place of residence, and as such has been very heavily modified to remove any trace that the Jedi once roamed and lived within its great halls. If you have ever been inside, you'll know that it definitely deserves its title of being one of the most luxurious buildings on all of Coruscant. It is a place of very significant history, and the building where the traitorous Jedi were swiftly exterminated. Speaking of the Emperor, what is it like for Coruscanti citizens to live on the same planet as the Emperor during the Imperial era? Well, for one, security throughout the city's districts is very fierce, with heavy enforcement of Imperial law from the Coruscant Guard by the Shock and Patrol Troopers, with these troopers continuously patrolling the streets to arrest rebel and anti-Imperial citizens, while looking for other crime that is orchestrated by large crime groups, gangs, bounty hunters and mercenaries. Of course, it wouldn't be the Galactic Empire without its heavy military occupation and operations. Especially on Coruscant, the Imperial Armada is very prevalent, with Star Destroyers stopping for repairs at massive Imperial shipyards, with hundreds of docking yards for Star Destroyers to get outfitted, repaired, resupplied, restocked, upgraded and even built. On Coruscant, you will find that Star Destroyers and TIE Fighters rule the skyline throughout the city, looming overhead and showcasing Imperial might and power within Coruscanti citizens. There are many destroyer docking stations within the upper atmosphere of Coruscant, where destroyers dock during visits or missions down to the surface. We already know that the Emperor resides on Coruscant, but did you know that there is an entire district known as the Federal District, or the Compnor Arcology, which includes the Imperial Palace, the naval headquarters responsible for overseeing naval operations throughout the galaxy, and the headquarters of the famous Imperial Security Bureau, responsible for extreme measures of law enforcement and loyalty within Imperial citizens. If there is ever suspicion of a growing rebel movement on Coruscant, or any planet for that matter, you can almost guarantee that the Imperial Security Bureau will be the first on the case to crush, dissent, and destroy these rebel cells. Agents of the ISB are experts in tactical infiltration and espionage, swooping in and collecting as much information as possible and leaving without a trace, returning later with military assistance to deal with the issue. So for you rebels watching, if you find yourselves being rattled awake and dragged out of your comfy Coruscant apartment in the middle of the night and immediately being questioned and beaten, now you know why. The architecture on Imperial-occupied Coruscant is certainly a big talking point. Like the ships and vehicles of the Imperial Armada, the buildings on Coruscant have become very brutalist, with large, mostly square buildings reaching high into the Coruscanti sky, perfectly symbolising the style and architectural form that the Empire strives to achieve, especially within its military buildings of the Compnor Arcology. Along with that, banners and holograms sit high and proud in the face of Coruscant citizens, encouraging the city's inhabitants to further support their galactic empire and the effort we take to bring peace, security and prosperity to not only Coruscant, but the whole galaxy. And with that, I think you now know how Coruscant is affected by the presence of the Galactic Empire. Thanks for watching, long live the Empire, and may the Force be with you.